Fox Talk Radio, local news from the heart of Cornwall.
Hello and welcome to the first edition of Fox Talk Radio, a show for young people that brings you local news from all over Cornwall. I'm Callum.
And I'm Jenny. Here are the headlines.
Tomorrow marks 1 year since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We speak to a Ukrainian refugee living here in the southwest to hear their story.
So many people on the road, miles and miles of people on the road, and buildings just flattened. And we said, I just wish we could do something.
Are there any tomatoes left in Tesco? Our reporters have been out at the local supermarket investigating recent fruit and veg shortages.
They kind of come in and ask if we've got anything in, and usually they're a bit annoyed because they've been to a few different shops and it's not really anything we can do. There's nothing available for them.
Unhappy protesters at Newquay have made their feelings known as they defend their precious coastline against disturbing property developments.
And we visit a centuries-old tradition in Cornwall, the hurling of the silver ball at St Column Major.
Town and country, do your best. For in this parish I must rest. Give in!
Fox Talk Radio.
This week marks 1 year since the war in Ukraine began. A United with Ukraine event is taking place in London today to mark this anniversary. Chloe Ethorn speaks to Zoriana, a Ukrainian refugee, and her host from Plymouth, Annette Laurie.
Tomorrow marks the first anniversary of the war in Ukraine since Russia's barbaric invasion. The UK will observe a minute's silence at 11 a.m. on Friday to pay tribute to Ukrainians and highlight the UK's solidarity with the country 2 weeks after President Vladimir Zelensky visited. I spoke with Ukrainian refugee Zoriana and her host Annette, a B&B owner in Plymouth, to find out more about the reality of life for Ukrainian refugees in the UK and their hosts. Zoriana, could you please talk me through your experience of what your life was like in Ukraine and your journey to the UK?
My job was a culinary instructor in professional school, teaching students how to prepare and present food.
By the way, this lady makes the most amazing cakes. Just going to say that.
In my spare time, I enjoyed singing in the local choir and spending time with my family. I came to Plymouth on my own, but my son was already staying with a host near Leeds. Sadly, I had to leave behind my eldest son, my daughter-in-law, and my granddaughter Emilia.
That sounds really difficult.
I miss my country, I miss the comfort of my home, but most of all, I miss my loved ones.
What was it like when you first arrived here in the UK?
It was a mixture of emotion, excitement to be closer to my son and arriving in a new country, hope that I would find a job and be welcome here. But overall, a feeling of gratitude to be given this opportunity.
Was there anything that surprised you about the UK?
Yes, how much support I've been offered.
That's brilliant. Where do you find strength in difficult times? Where do you find that place of strength?
I think how lucky I am to have such an amazing family, and I have to stay strong for them.
Annette, how would you describe your experience hosting Zoriana, and have you ever hosted before?
Never hosted before. We've had people stay a long time ago, students and things like that, but nothing like this. It's hard because I think we have a big responsibility, and we also have a fear of doing something wrong, because even though we're military people and we've been in war zones, we've never had to live in one, and we've never had to leave our families behind, and we've never seen our homes disappear and our whole infrastructure disappear. Different people will go forward at different times. I mean, Zoriana was brilliant. She was like 100 miles an hour. I'm going to find a job. And she was looking for jobs straight away. And she got a job within 4 weeks. She was having conversations with us at the end of 2 weeks without Google Translate. She has immersed herself into so many social activities. We barely see her. She has a better social life than us. So I'm not taking any responsibility for her social life. As a host, you do just have to be there for them if they need you. Give them a hug if they want a hug, and don't hug them if they're not huggy people, but just try and make everything good for them in as much way as possible, really.
What made you decide to host?
So many people on the road, miles and miles of people on the road, and buildings just flattened. And we said, I just wish we could do something to be the person that can be there for the Ukrainian family or Ukrainian lady or man or whatever. Because we're the lucky ones. We're the lucky ones because we have everything and it's not been stripped away from us. And I think, people would do well to remember, there but for the grace of God, anything could happen to us.
Yeah. That is very poignant and very beautifully spoken. Yeah, I definitely agree. That is amazing. And thank you so much to the both of you for your time to talk to me today. And I really appreciate you sharing your stories. And yeah, it's really, really heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time to hear. So thank you so much.
For extra news bites, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Fox Talk Radio.
More of us can expect to struggle to get hold of tomatoes, peppers and cucumbers, with a warning of current shortages that have forced supermarkets, including Tesco, Asda, Morrisons and Aldi, to restrict sales that could last weeks. We sent Tavy to a Tesco store in Falmouth to see what's going on.
So I'm here at Tesco's in Falmouth. It's a pretty grey day, middle of the day, so it's quite quiet right now. But we're going to go in and sort of have a look around, see who's been affected. See, it does actually look quite well stocked. However, there's some definite shortages. If you look towards the cucumbers, salad tomatoes, the baby plum tomatoes, there's absolutely nothing here. So they were definitely seeing those shortages that we're all hearing about. Yeah, so I'm here with an employee at Tesco.
I'm Sophie. They kind of come in and ask if we've got anything in, and usually they're a bit annoyed because they've been to a few different shops and it's not really anything we can do. There's nothing available for them.
Any tomatoes the other day, and
yeah,
I wanted a salad. So I had to have some very soft ones from my fridge.
Oh, that's the worst.
I know, it wasn't great.
No.
But I got a cucumber.
Yeah, it makes us quite frustrated because we want to give them the fruit and veg that they want, but we just don't have any.
Yeah, of course. And have you had anything from sort of suppliers or sort of higher up in Tesco's as to how they're tackling the issue?
We haven't heard anything, or we don't know when we're getting anything in. There's literally nothing been said to us.
Plans for a new direct train line from Newquay to Falmouth are going ahead despite local backlash. Callum has been down to Falmouth Station to look into what this means for people living in Cornwall.
As part of the Levelling Up Britain scheme developed by the Conservative Party in 2019, a £50 million grant will be spent on a new direct train service along 4 of Cornwall's largest urban areas: Newquay, St Austell, Truro and Falmouth.
This, however, has come under a lot of criticism, with many suggesting that it's the answer to Cornwall's chronic car congestion, while others, like the Mayor, have said that it's a complete waste of money.
This is because there's already a connecting line going from Newquay to Falmouth through Truro. In defence of this, planners claim the time it takes to travel along the connecting line will be halved from 2 hours to 1.
But is 50 million too much?
It's true Cornwall has a problem with chronic car dependency and congestion on the roads, but it also has a much more real problem with social care and housing. Is the best plan right now really a faster direct rail line, or could that money be put to better use?
Councillor Kirsty Edwards recently said that the council seemed fairly unfazed by the new plans, but suggested that the money could be going elsewhere to services like youth support and to accessibility.
Callum Walker, Falmouth.
You're listening to
Fox Talk Radio.
A new property development in Newquay has caused outrage amongst locals who are trying to prevent it from going ahead. Kaylin went to the site to find out what their plan was.
What you're hearing is the sound of Fulmer gulls nesting amongst the Whipseyderry Beach cliffs in Newquay. Locals have gathered at the bottom of the cliffs enjoying a picnic, a chat and the beautiful scenery around them in order to halt ongoing work at the top of these cliffs, where property developers are looking to build £1 million flats that have breached conditions in their contract. One of them being the disruption of nesting fulmars.
So essentially they're looking to do permanent damage to the beach, permanent damage to the cliff. They're looking to reduce biodiversity in the area, all for greed, with properties that they don't expect to last more than 100 years. So I think it shows a complete lack of forethought for the future, for future generations, and a complete lack of understanding of the importance of biodiversity on the health of the planet, and therefore on the health of the planet that can sustain human life and be.
Absolutely speechless. Whipsy is the most magical and wild beach in Newquay, and it's a special secret place that hasn't been spoiled yet. And now they're going to do it. And for no good reason, just money.
It seems as though the main concern for many surrounds greed, the safety.
The thought that they're going to make this area even more at risk is awful. What would be so lovely is if someone had bought that land and decided to do something for the community, but it just feels like this is all about money and about greed. Yeah, it's just devastating, it really is.
And of course the wild.
I just feel angry that they're going to destroy it and it might even kill the birds.
Someone else is coming down.
Oh, you got a roster to come down?
Yeah,
actually.
we actually have.
Brilliant.
The community is alive this week and their spirit is paying off.
A day of no work for these guys. They're going to have to take the digger up now because the tide's rushing in. I think that's an achievement today.
Have you ever considered if the towns and villages across Cornwall are accessible to wheelchair users and others with disabilities? Our reporter Amy spoke to Ash about his experience as a wheelchair user living in Falmouth.
Cornish seaside town Falmouth attracts thousands of visitors each year atop its local population of 22,000, but some of those individuals may find the town particularly difficult to enjoy. Ash Self of Falmouth is a wheelchair user and encounters difficulty daily when performing everyday tasks such as commuting to university and socialising with friends.
There are more restaurants in this town that say dogs welcome than restaurants that I could get into with a wheelchair.
Voicing that public transport was the biggest obstacle that he faces living in Falmouth, 22-year-old Ash is unable to use his local train station without a companion and has found that bus drivers can be hostile when being requested to place a ramp down in order to allow him access.
I think it's an attitude thing a lot of the time. I think as soon as attitudes start to change. And I do think Cornwall has such an ageing population. It is in everyone's interests.
In fact, a 2021 census showed that a fifth of the population of Cornwall are living with a disability, meaning that better accessibility would be valuable to a large proportion of the population, not only benefiting wheelchair users, but accessible solutions could also help elderly people, people with pushchairs and pregnant people too. Disability equality charity, Scope, have commented on the figures from the census, with research manager Craig Moss voicing that disabled people are repeatedly forgotten by government, business and society. Workplaces, pubs and public transport aren't accessible. He suggested that it was high time that society was more inclusive of those with disabilities.
So I'm Kirsty Edwards and I run Plastic Free Falmouth.
Falmouth Deputy Mayor Kirsty Edwards has commented on recent funding that has gone into a new train line plan for a service running between Falmouth and Newquay, suggesting that the £50 million budget would be better spent specifically on improving accessibility across the region, among other services. What do you think about the matter?
Fox Talk Radio.
I'm joined here in the studio by Tom. What's it all about, Tom?
Well, a People's Assembly is a gathering of people who come together to discuss issues of social importance with the aim of coming up with a solution. This type of participatory democracy is often open to the public and involves an inclusive and democratic discussion, with the results often submitted to specific institutions. The People's Assembly at Falmouth University, which intends to host their third meeting in a couple of weeks, was originally formed after an occupation, a growing trend of peaceful protest around the world. Earlier today, I spoke with Sebastian, one of the core team, to find out more details.
Both the Falmouth University and the University of Exeter announced a climate and ecological crisis.
That the universities, both Exeter and Falmouth, could have made
a bit more effort with the climate and ecological crisis, because we are facing climate hell.
The formation of the People's Assembly community is primarily students trying to hold the universities to account. We invite students from all courses, we invite lecturers, we invite staff members from any position in the universities, and we also invite members of the public that are keen to discuss the topics. Back in December, we were spearheading the People's Assembly community by asking everyone, what's your experience of learning about the climate and ecological crisis in the past? And the second was talking about the recent deal between the fossil fuel company Shell and the University of Exeter.
Exeter partnering with Shell, it maintains like a strong societal licence to operate, which is part of Shell's strategic aims.
In breakout groups, people discuss, come up with answers to a question within like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we all bring that back together at the end and feedback those answers. We usually compile a report of all of the overlapping answers to the questions. Those are usually heading a letter that we send to decision makers on campus, such as the Vice-Chancellor and others. The UK Parliament actually used People's Assemblies in 2018 to discuss issues around social care, and in Ireland, People's Assembly discussions were used to overturn the Eighth Amendment. So there is a context of People's Assemblies in today's world. I think this is a very important movement to be a part of because it's going across two institutions, one being the University of Exeter and one being Falmouth University. We're trying to involve our local community as well as these academic institutions. We're trying to make links with the main campus of Exeter too. This wants to grow. You know, we want this new radical democratic process of inclusivity and actually listening to people to be part of our lives. And when you come along and you're part of the community, you can experience that for a few hours. So I think it's a really nice place to be if you want to meet people who maybe are like yourself right now and just want to be a part of something and address the climate and ecological crises.
Students are met with everyday struggles when it comes to how much food costs. Cynthia talks to some students from Falmouth University about the food pantry that the SU is introducing.
As the cost of living continues to increase, students are met with everyday struggles due to such high demanding costs. I'm Cynthia Horvath, and today I'm here on Falmouth campus with...
I'm Taryn, and I'm a third year geography student, and I'm also a student rep.
I am Anthony, and I'm a third year graphic design student.
I'm Mary, and I'm a third year creative writing student.
To discuss the new food pantry that the Student Union is organising at Falmouth University to help out students with food costs and struggles by providing long shelf foods. I got you guys here today to just talk about student financial struggles. Do you feel like it is something that many people are experiencing?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, everyone. I feel like everyone I talk to.
100%. I mean, in one way or another, isn't it? People are struggling.
Yeah, I think so. You have to definitely pick and choose where you're going to go buy your food because, you know, some places are more expensive than others and you have to be smart about it.
So, and you need food to survive, right? So it's like picking where your money's going, which as a student you shouldn't necessarily have to do.
Like the amount of friends I have who have to work a job, but otherwise they won't be able to eat or even pay rent.
And so a lot of people have to budget, and I know sometimes some of my friends like can't go to events that we plan because they can't afford it if they want to keep to their budget and stuff. Yeah. Seems like it's just like every man for himself.
Absolutely. I mean, with the amount of money we're paying for this, and it feels like we're not getting any support at all. And in fact, things are being made harder for us with everything that's going on in the universities right now.
All the unis seem to have the same problem with people not being able to afford things.
Exactly.
And, you know, I mean, we live in one of the most expensive places to live. So, you know, there's a lot of places in London as well with universities. It'd probably be really helpful for them to have food banks for students.
I think it's a really positive thing, actually.
Yeah,
in all round.
There's a lot of food banks around in Falmouth, but I think a lot of the time there seems to be an animosity that students, I don't know, are like a pest in the town. So it's kind of good that there's like a student-specific one, so you feel less guilty, I think.
With such positive feedback, we hope that the food pantry is here to stay.
And if you want to find out more, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at Fox Talk Radio. So Jenny, what's coming up later on in the show?
Well, we'll be introducing you to singer performing in Cornwall, Sweet Bamboo, to hear all about his new album, The Wreckage.
Hogwarts Legacy, released on the 10th of February, has caused debates in the LGBTQ+ community and gaming communities alike. Naomi talks to students to find out what they think.
Post Harry Potter success, J.K. Rowling has become synonymous with her transphobic tweets. Despite having nothing to do with the production of the video game, it's believed she'll earn royalties. This has left fans feeling unhappy with the release, causing many to boycott the game. On June 6, 2020, Rowling retweeted an op-ed piece that discussed people who menstruate, taking issue to that the story did not use the word women. This tweet got tons of backlash, causing the author to write more about her views.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
I don't think she should profit from the character. However, surely it's enunciating her point of like discriminating against him if there's not diversity in the game because of her comments. So I guess she benefits either way, but I don't think she should profit, but equally I don't think they should take the diversity away.
In the Hogwarts Legacy game, a new character is introduced by the name of Serona Ryan, who is a trans woman.
Surely there would be more of an issue if there wasn't a trans character in the game, because then it would almost be like too on the nose that J.K. Rowling has like had a say in the production of the game.
As for like separating art from the artist, I think you kind of have to, because especially like I'm all up for people enjoying different kinds of media, and if that title of like Harry Potter and that whole universe has to be separated from the art, like artists to be enjoyed and like for people to feel included, then for sure.
Game director Alan Tu said, "We know that all of our fans fell in love with the Wizarding World, and we believe they fell in love with it for the right reasons. We know that there's a diverse audience. For us, it's making sure that the audience who have always dreamed of having this game had the opportunity to feel welcomed back, that they have a home here, and it's a good place to tell their story."
I know of J.K. Rowling's tweets. I know that I've heard that she's transphobic. I feel like I'm supporting her and what she's doing, whereas I'd rather be supporting the artist behind the actual game rather than her storyline.
I see a lot of TikTok videos about it and what kind of people think about J.K. Rowling in general. She's still benefiting from it by, raking in royalties. I don't think it's really acceptable, because I do think that obviously the people who've worked on the game have worked really hard and they might not have the same views as her, but I kind of think it's still connected to her and she's still benefiting from it, so I don't think that's that good.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
You're listening to
Fox Talk Radio.
Following an extraordinary general meeting at Falmouth Rugby Club, Leonora spoke to the head of the new Falmouth women's rugby team, Lydia Hawkins, about the challenges and successes of starting the team in a club built on a 150-year legacy of men's rugby.
Following an extraordinary general meeting at Falmouth Rugby Club, I spoke to the head of the women's rugby team, Lydia Hawkins, about the challenges and successes of starting the team in a club built on 150 years of men's rugby. Lydia said she knew Falmouth was ready for a women's team because of a change in attitude about women's sport across the country.
The Women's Football World Cup, that's highlighted women's sport quite a lot, and I think that brings people into all sports.
But where do you even begin when starting a team from scratch?
If we created the women's team, we could market it and we could bring people in. It made more sense to kind of provide the space, and then people would come to the team. So we sort of, myself, and sort of supported by quite a lot by John Bullock, and quite a lot of other people at the club actually. Everyone was quite keen for a women's team, and they sort of understood that would be a good thing to have at the club.
One of the biggest challenges Lydia faced starting the women's team was confronting subconscious attitudes about women, particularly in the sporting world.
A lot of the club is run by men, and men of a certain sort of generation, and they have blind spots, really. Nothing is malicious, but a lot of them have just sort of ingrained ideas of women and femininity and what women are like. And when I was speaking to some of the men about providing facilities for the women or amending the current facilities, they kept on saying how much work it would be, which I was like, well, it would be a bit of work, but all you have to do is kind of separate them out or make sure that we've got enough time where the women can shower and the men can shower, so that we're not clashing in terms of timescales. And the comment I got back was, yeah, but what about the cubicles though? Because, you know, women have to have separate cubicles to shower. And it was like this thing.
Things are looking bright for the future of the Falmouth team and women's sport in general. Lydia is confident that women's rugby will play a substantial part in the club's new legacy.
One of the women said that it's a space where she doesn't have to be a mum or a wife, and she's just with her friends. Having that space to go to is also really important, and to kind of provide that space is something quite special as well, actually, I think, as a club, where someone feels like that's just somewhere they want to go, where they can just be themselves.
The New Zealand defence is coming up too fast for England to be able to get it out there.
The annual bottle match is a tradition that dates back more than 120 years. Last Saturday, the Camborne School of Mines football team beat the Royal School of Mines 2-0. Emily speaks to Jack Geldard, the vice-captain of the winning team.
The first half saw both teams even each other out, with chances at either end. CSM gave away a penalty, but the RSM captain missed. Minutes later, right winger Ted Gustard scored for CSM. The result remained 1-0 at half-time. In the 55th minute, CSM scored another goal thanks to left winger Ed Swain. Vice-captain Jack Geldard speaks.
For us, there's no bigger game in the CSM calendar than Bottle Match. It's the biggest game we play in the year. Players were buzzing, especially the freshers. It's their first time experiencing winning such a football match on such a big scale. There's also a real sense of pride too, as following the rugby match. The football match is the second biggest event of the weekend, so to win in front of everybody and have everybody cheering us on, it felt brilliant. Especially all the hard work, training and stuff in preparation for it.
Charity fundraising is also at the core of the bottle match. Each year, CSM pick a different team to raise money for.
So it's tradition every year during bottle match that the teams travelling get funny haircuts, whether that be rugby, football, hockey, and also raise money in the process of doing so. So each year we choose a different charity, but this year we decided to pick pancreatic cancer. We had a player come forward who said that he unfortunately sadly lost his father to pancreatic cancer a few years back, so we decided to support him and then everyone else who's been impacted by the disease. So far we have raised over £1,900, which is brilliant.
A century-old tradition, the hurling of the silver ball, took place this week in St Column Major. Pablo and Emma went to Newquay to find out what it's all about.
The hurling of the silver ball is a much-loved annual tradition in the St Column Major that goes back centuries. We're here today in the town's marketplace on Shrove Tuesday for the first of two hurlings to speak to those anticipating the event.
Lizzie, Hurriato, Blue, St Column Burr.
Michael, the town clerk, stresses the importance of this tradition to St Column Major.
Yeah, so it's been going for quite some time. I mean, it's sort of affectionately known as a rugby match with no rules. We've all got our, the boarding up to hopefully stop the ball from going through windows and things. But it should be fun. This is something that's organised by the people themselves. The town council in effect don't get involved that much in this at all. Do you want to see the hurling ball? Get it to silver, and it's apple wood. The actual wood is. Yeah, it's made by a local craftsman here in St Column.
Doug works in the local bakery and has taken part in previous years.
Yeah, it was rough. You see people fighting over this little ball, which seems mad. But going and doing it, you realise how much it means to be part of the town team to win the ball. I think the tradition itself is gone back a long time to ancestors. It's been going for hundreds of years. It shows the difference between groups in the town and outside the town, so it goes between the country. It shows how much everyone works together.
Town and country, do your best. For in this parish I must rest.
Yeah, a lot of the older people find it more important than maybe some of the youngers do, joining in. So they'll pass it on years to come. It's been going for many years and hopefully it'll keep going just for the tradition of the ball and what the town has become of it.
Some people, like Jenny from Falmouth, have travelled from all over Cornwall to come and watch.
I've never been before, and we stayed here on New Year's Eve and everyone was talking about it and we thought we'd give it a go.
Invoking our traditional sporting motto, Gwaddy Wheg, you Gwaddy Teg. Fair play is good play.
Fox Talk Radio.
Sweet Baboo, also known as Stephen Black, has embarked on a tour across the country promoting his new album, The Wreckage. Naomi talks with Stephen to find out more.
Oh, don't you worry about a thing, 'cause I'm in no hurry now to win, so if you wanna take some more time.
Hello, my name is Sweet Baboo and I'm currently promoting my new album, The Wreckage, that was released at the beginning of the year. I'm playing in the Cornish Bank in Falmouth on the 11th of March.
Your first album was released in 2008. How would you say your music has changed over time?
I guess my music has changed as I've got older. Maybe I've refined what I like a bit more. I've tried to become a bit more direct in my lyric writing, and I've probably got better at playing. But the principles is the same. They're still just songs.
Could you talk us through your creative process when making The Wreckage?
So The Wreckage, I guess it started life. I had a few songs that were knocking about but I'd never finished about 3 or 4 years ago. And in 2021, I, along with some friends of mine, Paul Jones on the piano and Dave Newington on the drums, went to a studio in West Wales called Studio O's. We made The Wreckage. It was recorded pretty much live and quickly and mixed by another friend of mine, Jimmy Robinson. We mixed it in London later on that year, and then it's come out at the beginning of 2023.
I've read that you have drawn inspiration from the Beach Boys, Weezer and Neutral Milk Hotel. What specific things from these artists have you brought into your own work?
The Beach Boys, Weezer and Neutral Milk Hotel, they were massive influences on me when I was a lot younger. But it still stands. I still think that the Beach Boys are my favourite band. I basically love pop music. And all these bands write really good songs, but there's something otherworldly about them, especially the Beach Boys and Neutral Milk Hotel. There's something very individual about them. Yeah, I think that's what I take from them. Like, try to do my own thing, not worry about what other people think, that kind of thing.
What is your favourite song at the moment?
Rosie Plains, Agreeing for Two, which was released earlier this year, her album, and I think Rosie's brilliant, and this was the first single off it, I think. Anyway, I think it's brilliant. Rosie Plains, Agreeing for Two.
You're scheduled to perform at the Cornish Bank on the 11th of March. What can we expect from your live performance?
At the moment, I'm on a long tour performing on my own. But I didn't want it to be just me and an acoustic guitar. So I've basically filled the stage with loads of bits and bobs. Got a drum machine, tape machine, a couple of synths, a flute, and I just try and put on a good, exciting, chaotic performance. So yeah, and I'm playing at the Cornish Bank on the 11th of March.
What is one of your favourite songs that you have released?
That's a tough question. It's difficult to be objective about your own songs, but why don't I say the last single, The Worry? I think that was a song that had been knocking around my head for a good few years, and I like the sentiment. It's all about trying to help whoever's around you not to worry more, which is maybe useful in this current climate. Yeah, and it's got a good piano and recorder solo in the middle of it.
So if you wanna take some more time, I am happy to give you mine, and maybe the planets will all align, and don't you worry about a thing.
Thank you for listening to Fox Talk Radio. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Callum. See you next week.
And to play us out from Sweet Baboo's new album, this is The Wreckage. Enjoy. Sick.
See ya. Goodbye, this whole setup.
Lost myself in the waves, and I swam and I tried, got deep up inside. But if you sang my name, sang it out like a whale, then I might remember, might get back. Don't give up on me, and I promise I'll answer to join the water, and I'll follow the sound. I am coming up surface, I'm homeward bound, and I'm holding on. I'm still holding on.